Alright, YouTube, so probably judging by the fact that you can read the title, I bought one of these Echoes, or an old Echo. I already have a couple Echoes. I got that one. There's another Echo up there against that wall. And I bought this used, obviously, because it's a really old unit. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it just yet. I might keep it for myself and put a blade on it. I might sell it. I might flip it. Who knows what I'm going to do with it. But I'd figure I'd bring you along the journey here of what I do when I first get equipment in, and my sort of process of fixing things and figuring out what might be wrong and what's going on with it. It's an Echo SRM-2100, 2100, and it's, if I had to guess when it was made, somewhere between like 94 to 2001-ish, somewhere around there, 95 to 2001. It's got that style. The reason that I came up with that is the handle is the really old style handle, not the really comfortable one. It's got a squishy grip on the grab handle, which is sort of what reminds me of, I have a still up there as well that has a squishy grip, and I would imagine they would sort of come out at the same time with the same squishy grip to be competitive. And it doesn't have a safety interlock, so this is definitely an older unit, that's for sure. It has the very big shroud, which personally I like the trimmer guards, but I don't like that shroud. I know the Echoes have like a nice, some of the newer Echoes have the nicer sort of shroud that's sort of cut in half, and you can see this generation probably came with one of those. I don't know why this trimmer has this humongous shroud on here, but I mean you can see the outline of the other one where it would be made. Maybe I'll cut it, I don't know. But from what I know, I believe these trimmers are capable of a blade, not like a circular saw blade, but maybe like a little tri-cut blade or something along that lines. But let's go into the diagnostics part of this here. First, if if you're getting a trimmer like this in, first thing I look at is the brand. It's an Echo, so that's it's worth fixing, shall I say. If it's like a pull-in or a Ryobi, or like a lower end Ryobi, pull-in Pro, McCulloch, Bollins, I don't even waste my time, to be honest, because the parts money I could put into those, I can just go buy another one of those. I think I have a Bollins up here that I was given, and I don't even bother touching it because it's not worth my time. Something like this, probably not worth my time either, just because of the age. But I bought it cheap, so I can fix it cheap and possibly use it, possibly not. But this is a brand it's worth me trying to fix. First thing I'd look at is try to find the obvious things that are wrong. Beyond cosmetics, like stuff like that doesn't bother me. If you're going trash picking or something, test the compression. Does it have compression? This trimmer has plenty of compression, so it's worth fixing. If it doesn't pull, or it pulls way too easy, odds are it doesn't have compression, probably not fixing. There you can see it's assembled in the USA, but the engine and that kind of stuff made in the United States. If you've been around small engines long enough, you know that fuel lines are going to go bad. These are hard, so that means they're pretty much bad. You can see they don't flex at all. Echo uses a stupid grommet system, so you have to buy a grommet and a vent, tank vent as well if you plan on replacing those. I think right now these are good enough to hold fuel. They're not cracked or anything, so I might not replace them just yet, but they will be replaced. And you have to replace that grommet as well. I'm going to guess the grommet leaks, just because these grommets generally leak around the same time the fuel lines go bad. So yeah, looking at this, beyond it just being dirty, nothing really too wrong with it. I see a lot of oil buildup and stuff down there, but that's probably from fuel leak or something petty like that. It's got this uncomfortable handle. I might wrap that in hockey tape or something like that. This is something I noticed as well. So you can see the shroud is broken off and it's actually cracked the metal. Now normally if I saw that and it cracked into this housing right here where the it transfers into another shaft going this way, and it was cracked into that, so it'd be leaking oil or something, I wouldn't even bother fixing it, because I think this part alone is like $40-50, and that's not worth it on this trimmer. So that's something that needs to be fixed. I'm not going to fix it. I'm honestly just going to take the shroud off, even though I like to have the shroud on, just because I don't like getting my legs all covered in grass, and I got like poison ivy and stuff. I don't want all that flinging around. But yeah, you can see that that's probably the biggest issue with this trimmer thus far is this shroud, and I'll fix that by taking it off. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's not cracked into it, so that's good. The shield, I can sort of tell by looking at like the head and whatnot how much wear and tear it has. Has a little bit, not crazy too much. It's got this older Echo head that sort of, I think it pops out, I'm not sure. I haven't had one of these gray Echoes before. And just judging by it, it doesn't look like it's been used too much. I bought it at a store, and I conveniently work at the store, so I know exactly where it came from. And I'm not exactly sure who owned it before me. But I can tell you it was residentially used. So, and just judging by the way it looks down here, I don't think it was beaten to death or anything. I can show you, well, maybe I can't, but I mean, you look at some of my other trimmers, they look similar, not necessarily torn up. You can see that one's not necessarily any worse shape, and that one's a lot newer. I like the shroud on that one a lot better. Yep. Another big one with these Echo, if there's a problem with the Echo, almost always it has something to do with the fuel delivery system. So that's always something to look out for on these Echoes. The primer bulb actually feels like it's newer because it's still rubbery, which is good for me, because knowing that those fuel lines are not cracked, I could probably test start it. So let me figure out what I'm going to do with this just yet. It does have the EPA screws, so this is definitely an older trimmer. So that's good. So, if the carb's dirty or something and I really don't want to clean it, I might be able to adjust that to account for that. But let me figure out what I'm going to do with this right quick. I might be back with you, I might not. We're going to see if we can start this. Alright guys, so I threw some fuel in it. I'm going to sort of, normally I would sort of take it apart because it is really dirty in there and that kind of stuff, and try to clean it up before I try to start it. But I'm sort of curious as to whether it's going to start, just because it hasn't been mismaintained, but it's sort of, it looks like somebody used it probably 5 years ago and just stuck it away somewhere and let it sit and didn't clean it off, because if you work in fixing these, you sort of know like the dirt and the grime. If the grime's been there for a while, and this grime has been there for quite a long time. I did give it a little bit of gas, like 2-3 tablespoons of gas. I don't know if that's going to be enough or not, but I'm going to give it a few primes here. It is 50 to 1. I mean, if you're watching this video, you probably know how to mix fuel. I don't know if that's going to be enough fuel, but we'll find out. Also, by looking at it, I can tell you whoever owned it used way too much oil. Alright, I'm going to give it a teensy bit more fuel, see if that'll get it going. Alright, evidently by me spilling fuel, I need a new gas can, but that's beyond the point. but I gave it some more here, probably about a cup. And I can already sort of feel what's going on here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but a lot of times you can get, there it goes, feel it suck up through here, and it wasn't. And I'm looking at the return line here, and it seems to be pumping a lot of oil. There it goes. And I can pretty much already tell you that this probably isn't going to run right. Trying to get all the air out of here. I'll give it a few pulls now. And we'll give it half choke. Okay, so that was kind of surprising, but it did turn on. You guys are watching me fix this live here pretty much. So just by listening to it, I can tell you that the idle is set too high. Probably because the carb's dirty and they kept dying at idle. But it did turn off by itself. So something else is up there. We'll try cold start once again, because sometimes these echoes like to warm up a little while. The easy thing for me to say right now is the spark plug, and spark arrestor is probably just disgusting, but I think we're going to have fuel issues with this one. But I think our best bet right now is to go do this spark plug and spark arrestor, because that's something I can do without parts, and see what we can do from there. I already have fuel leaking out of my grommet, so I'll have to take care of that in the future, but fuel's cheap, so let me get you guys set up to go do this. Okay, so I got you guys on the handle here. This is, Echo makes it easy to do the spark plug. Just take the grommet off here. It's kind of weird. Looking at it, I can tell you it's never been changed, because it is rusty. And it is crazy hot. Should have saw that coming. Yes, I am using a scrunch for this. I don't have a spark plug socket. This is NGK, so that's how you can guess it's original. Bosch still uses Bosch. Echo uses NGK, and Husqvarna sort of uses a mixture of both. Alright, there's your plug. It's not terrible. It is covered in oil and gas, so it is getting good fuel. But it is kind of gristly. So what I like to do with this, usually I've really honestly never had to buy a new spark plug. I sort of just wire brush it a little bit. If you notice the gap is too small, you can push the gap. Usually that doesn't happen on two strokes. It usually happens with something with valves. But we'll clean that up here. I don't think this is the problem. I do have a BPM 7A, but I think this spark plug's just fine. We saw that it ran, so we're getting good spark, but we're going to polish it off just to make it safe. Say we did it. Looking inside there, it's not scored or anything. Lots of carbon buildup, So that's kind of a issue for us. That's definitely from all the oil that somebody put in this. A lot of people like to put just like a bottle of oil into the gas tank and fill it up with gas. That's not how you mix it. Alright, plugs back in. Let me flip you guys around to do the spark arrestor. Okay, so I got you guys better set up here. Hopefully you guys can see that. We're going to do the spark arrestor, which is a really easy job. Some of you guys might find this ironic, but somebody just dropped this off to me while I was making this video. It's a GT200R. Pretty much same trimmer, just a little newer. But get this off, you need an Allen wrench. Trust me, it was pretty hard finding this size. I don't know why. Yep, it's been on there. This is going to be painfully slow getting these stupid things out. I don't have a, I think they make little Allen wrench, like nut driver type things, but I'm not sure. I like the Torx screws a lot better that Stihl and Husqvarna use. They're a little bit more user friendly. Not that everybody has a set of Torx wrenches, but boy, these are in here. Alright, I think those are captive screws. So I don't think they're, I think it feels like it's out of the block, so I don't think it has come off anymore. And just looking at these, I don't think this has ever been off this trimmer. I think I got one more Phillips up there I gotta deal with. Guys can never find the right screwdriver when you need it. I'm gonna do this top screw. I think this holds in something. I'm not sure. I don't do echoes too often. Yeah, it does. Okay, so there it is. And it is going to make us take the dang spark plug out again. Get that shield off. Judging by the age, these exhaust bolts on here might give us a little bit of trouble. Boy, that's tight. Yeah, you can see in there. They used a lot of oil when they mixed it. And sort of some brands and models are prone to using that much oil. These trimmers aren't usually included in that. Of course, it's Allen. And my Allen collection is not very extensive. There it is. Now, when you're doing well, actually, I don't even have to take echo usually. Puts it in these little ones right here. Now these, it's going to be good. I was going to say almost all of the echoes I've replaced the spark arrestor on, these little bolts snap off inside the exhaust, and I'm very surprised these actually did not. Yeah, there's three. And why I'm thinking it's a spark arrestor is because of the amount of oil that's on it. When you've got a really oily mixture, the spark arrestor usually plugs up and it bogs out. We're about to find out. Oh yeah. It's actually not that bad. Still see lots of carbon on it. I don't know if you can see that, but doesn't look bad at all. If it was plugged up, you really wouldn't be able to see through this. If your state requires it, you can put it back in. The way you clean it is you get a blowtorch and just hold in the blowtorch a little bit, move it back and forth, and you'll burn off all that soot and stuff. Other than that, you really don't have to have them in unless you're working in a really dry environment. I live in a dry environment, but I'm not too concerned. Most of my other equipment besides my 4-strokes don't have it in there, and I'm not concerned about it. But that, knowing that that's not clogged makes me think it's more of a fuel issue than originally thought. So I'm going to put this back together here and get back with you. Alright YouTube, so I did put it back together here. So you can see, I did quite a job putting it back together. These stupid shrouds are kind of, they're going kind of funky. But I did run it, I did start it off camera. Only reason being is I was trying to adjust the carburetor during so, and it just wasn't working out. I will say I did take the shroud off. Like I said earlier, I don't like taking shrouds off trimmers. I didn't really have a choice on this one. I would have liked to kept it on, even though it's humongous, because it gets grass all over your legs if you don't. And I will say this about Echo trimmer heads. I strung this one up, and honestly, if I owned an Echo trimmer, I would not use their trimmer heads. I don't know who designed this trimmer head, but it is probably the worst trimmer head I think I've ever used in my life. Yeah, I've seen Ryobi's better designed, but it's not a speed feed. It's like I think it's an Echo-Matic, I think is what they call it, but it is just god-awful. I see why people get frustrated with trimmer heads. This one took a couple times to actually get working. But yeah, that's all to do with that. Maybe this isn't an Echo trimmer head, but it sure does look like Echo trimmer head. I don't think they would change it, but you can see the little crack now that was on it. Shroud's off now, but I did do some minor carb adjustments. I adjusted the idle like I said I was going to, and I did adjust the high screw a little bit. It doesn't run right still, but it will idle and it will cut and trim, and that's what I was trying to get it to at this point. It still does need a carb and fuel lines, but I'll do that at a later date. I don't have time for that. We'll see if it starts up right now. This is a big reason why I don't like no shrouds on trim heads, and it just lays in there. Yeah, you can see it still does need some work. I was trimming with it earlier, it was running okay. But you guys get the point. Beyond cosmetics, I'll probably throw a new grommet, fuel filter, vent, maybe a carb kit. Actually, I probably will put a carb kit on there just because it needs one. I think I'm going to flip it. I'm not 100% sure right now. But it does run decent. I didn't do anything else besides what I showed you in the video. And you can see I got a little minor gas leak here. But that's all it takes. I got this from a thrift store for $7. So I mean, I can't beat that. I'll keep an eye out for more stuff. I think you guys can see the process I go through to fix this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't videotape the adjustments and that kind of stuff, but that's not hard. It's high-low screws. High you adjust when you have it full throttle, low is when it idle. But yeah, from this, I know it needs a carb kit and new fuel lines. But I know that it does run, and I did test it in some grass. I did cut around my flower beds and vegetable garden over there, and it does fine. It has been serviced before, I can tell that by tearing it apart. But I'll leave you with one last little startup here. Oh, all right. It guess it doesn't want to be the last startup. Alright, it doesn't want to start back up. You guys can take my word for it that it was running earlier just fine. But you guys will probably see a carb kit and a fuel line video here soon to get this thing back up running. Because pretty much what I did has a dirty carb and something's messed up in the carb, and I used the tuning screws, the tuning out of it. You can do it that way sometimes you can get lucky doing that, and it'll hold you off till you can get a carb kit. Yep, thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think.